Hey, welcome back to another episode. I'm Trung from the Shooters Row, and we're here to talk about the last damn two episodes of The Last Dance, Jordan's documentary, or the Chicago Bulls. It depends how you see it. So we've watched 8 hours worth, and we've reviewed the last 4 weeks of it. So we have all the videos. I'll do a link here to all the videos, and yeah. So I want to welcome our I guess our panel. Uh, the man they call the Magic Man, but I call him D-Swizzle. How are you,
As
man?
well,
Yeah.
mate. Mate, I'm just jazzing it up for today, man. Just showing some love for the championship list Jazz. Shout out to all those Jazz fans out there.
Hornet 6 jersey or?
Nah, mate, this is John,
Johnny.
the man,
Point guard.
greatest point guard ever.
Ooh, big ball.
You just saw my screen, and as RJ, the 3-point bomber from the West. What's up?
What up, everyone? What's up, boys?
So yeah, so we've all watched the last two episodes of The Last Dance, and yeah, it's sad, but it's also it was the climatic end to a great movie that I'm pretty sure we all enjoyed, and every basketball fan has enjoyed. So let's get straight into it, all right? So let's start with uh, some of these things are out of order between episodes 9 and 10, but I'll put a list together. So the first thing I want to talk about is the flu game. So let's take it back to the room. So I'll paint the picture. Jordan was apparently hungry.
Get the
Like
munchies, bro.
got the
Late
munchies
at night.
or
What's he doing
whatever.
late up? What's he doing up late at night, man?
It's Michael Jordan, man. He does what he wants. but we need to dissect that, talk about it. So he was hungry. Apparently, his boys, his entourage, they had dinner without him. So he asked Tim Grover, his trainer, to get him some food. They were on the outskirts of Salt Lake City, so not many things are open. No room service. They found a pizza place. They called it. The pizza came. Apparently, the pizza came with 5 guys delivering it, which is suspect. So when D-Swizzle was wearing the Jazz uniform, I'm not sure if he's part of that fan club. So yeah, so this is the picture we're painting. RJ, I want to hand it over to you. What are your thoughts on this? Was it a flu game? Was it something else? What are
Well,
your thoughts?
if you break it down, it's actually not the flu game. It's a poison game because he got food poisoned. With the 5 guys turning up, I think that was pretty much leaked by the place that they were staying. They probably said, oh, he's staying there, right? Or pretty much the people that were in the shop probably knew that, oh, Tim Grover, isn't that Michael Jordan's trainer? So I think they all picked up on it and went together to sort of have a peek. Um, but, but the funny thing is, yeah, he got hungry, then he ate that pizza. But I don't think I don't think people will stoop that low to sort of, poison or to sort of lace something in like the opposing team's food. I mean, gosh, that's really low. But hey, man, the guy had a massive game. What can you say? Goat all the way. He delivered. Flu game, poison game, whatever game you want. The guy delivered.
Cool. D-Swizzle?
Yeah, look, I'm just hungry now thinking about pizza. What's really what I found interesting about it is his personal trainer Tim. Um, he saw that it looked suspect, and yet he still gave him the pizza. Come on, like you of all people being his personal trainer. I just find it a little puzzling. That's all. That he would still allow him to do that. If he was hungry, go order something else. Go.
But there was
Have
nothing else though.
dinner, there
According
might
to
not
them, there
be.
wasn't.
Sorry.
Come
There
on,
was nothing
man.
else though.
Come on,
Yeah,
man.
but order another pizza. Don't eat that pizza.
Same
I'll tell you-
suspect
Come on,
pizza.
take 20 minutes, man. Call Domino's. Like, get another
No,
pizza.
but there was nothing else open.
Yeah, I call bullshit on the whole story, right? Because it's, it's a city, right, in America, and then you got your three guys, and why the hell didn't they go and get the pizza or go out and get some food, right? Like now, if you're in a rural town anywhere in the world, I guess there'll be like one or two options. Like there wouldn't be just this one option. You call this pizza place, and that's it.
And the
And it's
NBA finals are in town.
Not the
exactly.
main
There's a
town
lot
though.
of people there.
Yeah, but it's not the main city.
They're on
It's
the
outskirts.
They're on the outskirts. They're on the outskirts.
Hey, Dex, if they didn't get pizza, they would have to fish for their food.
Mate, it's Michael Jordan. I'm sure they could have paid someone to go and source some food. He's got money. I saw those cars he was driving.
Oh, yeah.
Porsche, Ferrari, Rover. Mate, it's Michael Jordan. If he's hungry, you could go order at a hotel, and I'm sure that they would have brought it to him. But like you pointed out, Jay, he still had a massive game, 44 minutes, 38 points. Incredible stuff, really. I mean, it was visibly clear he was not 100%. And even at not 100%, he still managed to dominate. That speaks volumes.
He willed them to win. That's amazing.
And it's all part of the legend that is Michael Jordan. You know, everybody now is wanting a flu game. I mean, everybody talks about that pivotal moment, that game against Utah, because they fast forward 10 plus years. Dirk Nowitzki had his own flu game against Miami, and it seems to be the bar, that this elite bar, that you've got to be sick and play sick, and to get this status of being, you know, a great player. So yeah, props to him. All part of the legend.
True.
All the stories, you know. And I'm sure it was a little embellished in part, and but it makes for a good story. Yeah.
100%. So there's a side note on this that because everyone ate before Jordan did, when the pizza came, Jordan spat all over the pizza, so that no one else could get a piece. just quickly, what do you guys think of that? Is he psychotic? And does he play some games?
It takes me back to high school.
Right. But look, Jordan's been known, and we've talked about this in previous episodes, to make shit up so that he can get motivated. I mean, this guy legit was living in his own world. It was the Michael Jordan world, and rightly so, rightly or wrongly so. He could do what he wanted to do. He wasn't doing anything illegal, and it was just his way of thinking. And those closest around him knew that was Mike being Mike. Everyone's different. We all have our little quirks. He's got some strange quirks, but it's just amplified because of his public.
Of course. I would think so too, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move along then. So during this documentary, I guess, mainly episode 9 and 10, the couple of things that I found really interesting was that the superstars always waited for each other outside the stadiums. Like on the court, the game will finish and they wouldn't shake hands. And as a spectator, you're like, oh, is that how it is in the NBA? Like no one has respect for each other. They just get off the court. But this documentary showed all the superstars waited for each other. Like every time there was one where Larry Bird, who was coaching the Pacers, when Jordan was leaving, they had a conversation. They had an explicit language to each other, and they moved along. And there was another one, Reggie Miller, and the Jazz players. So and the last one actually was when Karl Malone actually came on the bus, like the bus, losing game 6, and that was to me like a surprise. Like, all these little things, I guess. A lot of these documentaries already, all of us have seen, right? Their highlights and stuff, but these little tidbits, all these things at the end, that actually filled in a gap for me. You know? So for me, it was about seeing that there was camaraderie, like a brothership with all these NBA players. That the old guys are always saying to these guys, "Oh, you guys are too friendly." You know, like it sounds like the secret's out. These guys were friendly, but not on social media. There's no social media at the time, and not on camera. So I'll get to you, RJ. What are your thoughts on, I guess, these moments, and like what it meant for you, and what did you get out of it?
Well, to be honest, that part with when Larry went to Jordan to congratulate him, I rewinded it 3 times. I thought I was seeing things because I was thinking, because Larry Bird didn't say nothing to him, and then Jordan goes, "Yeah, bitch, fuck you," and I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, hold on, let me rewind it." I'm like, "What did he say?" I just didn't figure it out. I'm like, this guy's savage, man. And it's like, okay, the game's done, but he's still savage. It's like, you can work on your golf swing. I'm like, oh, wow. He adds salt to the wound. Okay. And then, yeah, like you said, T, Malone going to the bus, Reggie waiting for Jordan, even though they were like, the previous incident when they had a fight in Indiana, you know, it showed that, yeah, they had absolute tremendous respect for each other. And it sort of made me question of back couple episodes of what we did with The Last Dance when Isaiah didn't shake their hands at all. I mean, on the court, off the court, there was nothing. So that sort of made me wonder, like, they really don't like each other or there's really bad blood. Because these guys, I mean, Rodman got under Malone's skin. Like I said, Reggie had a previous fight with Jordan before. But they were just feisty competitors. But at the end of the day, like they'll just shake hands and they're like, you know what, good game, well done. And it just shows that the respect and the sportsmanship exists. And there's no bad blood. It is the game, and the game's done. So let's just call it truce and let's have fun and enjoy the summer. So or enjoy the next stage of the playoffs. Yeah, that was just like I said. It was really refreshing when I saw that. I thought, wow, these sports stars are really like they don't talk shit behind their back, or they're really real and they're really respectful toward each other. It's really, really good.
Just on that though, it's limited, the footage. What they're showing is the elite superstars of the NBA acknowledging other elite players. You don't see and this was focused in as well, like when the Brian Russell folklore story was told by Jordan, when Carl and John Stockton were talking to Jordan and Brian Russell started talking trash and Jordan said, "You better keep your boy in check." This was a rookie talking to the elite. I mean, at that point, it was only the elder statesmen, those who are all NBA, first team, second team, third team, elite players talking, to each other because they all knew that they were all that they're all at the pointy end of the player spectrum. There's that respect because they are proven, battle-hardened, proven athletes at that point. But you don't see any, footage of that camaraderie when it comes to elite players and subpar players. If anything, it was the actual opposite. When you had to look at the footage with Scott Burrell and Michael Jordan, mate, there was a big inequality in the relationship there. But in saying that, I mean, this was all part of pre-social media days. And they were all going to see each other sometime down the road because they were leading competitive teams. They were always going to run into each other. And
absolutely,
at that point, all roads had to go through Chicago. So there was always going to be that that competition and that interaction with Michael if they were good enough to get to that point.
Yeah, to talking about the equality of the NBA, we touched on it when Steve Kerr had the fight with Jordan, and Jordan had to reach out to get his number. He actually didn't know his number, and that's his own teammate. So you look at the equality. I think it happens on your team and everyone else's team, right? Yeah. Like if we look at today's, I'm pretty sure LeBron follows all his teammates on his team and old teammates, so they can reach out multiple ways, right? So yeah, so equality is definitely there back in the 80s and 90s.
But you didn't see players on their phones all the time. They were talking to each other. That was the thing. Like the footage always showed players talking to each other. You rarely saw Jordan on a mobile phone. And it just goes to show the connection, the more personal connection that players had, because it's easy enough for players to reach out and contact each other because of a mobile phone. And
absolutely,
yeah.
And
Technology.
a lot of the footage we see on the players now is them scrolling through their phones. You know,
Instagram or Facebook or something, man.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, and even at halftime in games in the locker room, you basically have players just posting or tweeting during halftime of the game. So yeah, it's a massive change from what we had before.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Let's talk about Rodman. All right. So the picture is where you imagine you're on the NBA finals, and it's between, I think it was between game 2 and 3, and Rodman disappears. He ditches training and he shows up on your TV in WrestleMania. Wrestling, was it Hulk Hogan? That's right. What are your thoughts, D-Swizzle? I'll come back to you.
Oh, mate, Rodman's Rodman, man. Wasn't he preparing for his next phase in life? This was just transitioning in. I think Jordan put it best, like when they were in the team huddle afterwards, and Phil's giving Rodman a bit of a whipping, and Mike was just talking about how good the money was anyway. It made it worthwhile because the money was that good for Rodman to make this cameo appearance. I mean, it was, what have I got here? It was in the middle of 3 and, I think it was between 3 and 4.
After game 3, he left. He went straight to Detroit.
Yeah, 3, 4, sorry. Yeah.
Between 3 and 4. But they won game 4 with Rodman playing exceptionally well. It's just incredible. Like, just to go for his little holiday, his vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go back to the episode, what we spoke about previously, like we said before, they knew that he would bring 100% to the table all the time. So what happens outside of that is, it just disregard it, because it's just for him to sort of, relax and to sort of, calm himself down. And once he comes back to the court, there you go. I'll help you win.
It wasn't right what he did, because they're in the NBA finals. He misses a practice, but before a game. Practice? We're talking about practice? But still, in the middle of the NBA finals, that's some pretty messed up priorities as a professional athlete.
Yeah, because there's also press, right? Like with every NBA player and team, you have to give time to the press to be able to make articles, I guess, and generate the income that the NBA brings in. So it's not just playing; it's like media availability. So
you see him sneaking away.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's just move on to the next one. So just on Rodman, did you guys see the footage where Rodman finishes the game? He jumps on a bike without a helmet and he's drinking a beer.
Yeah. Oh man.
I can't believe that. I guess it's in the past, but I can't believe the NBA actually let them shoot that. Because it's just showing a bad example, right? Of I guess like
it's raw footage.
But it was also public. Like, he was riding through a big crowd. Like, it's not like he was being hidden.
Yeah.
He was out in the open.
Openly, yeah.
He was out in the open.
Not a care in the world.
No helmet needed, sunglasses on, and a beverage to make sure.
Pivotal role in the Bulls three-peat.
Absolutely.
He played an important role. I don't know if they would have won without each of these players. Even the role players have a certain importance, because the star players need time to rest.
Yes.
And the bench also plays its role. I mean, deep bench means greater success. And
yeah, definitely.
Through even especially during modern times, you got a good bench, and if the bench can outscore the other team's bench during those key moments, it certainly puts the game into a different competitive edge for the team that's playing better, that's got the better bench. Yeah.
Cool. So also in the last 2 episodes, this is probably the most NBA, I guess, game time we've seen, like focus on just the game itself. So let's go to Game 6 of the '98 series, and Pippen's report is like his back is hurting and he can't play. Like it was surreal to see Pippen actually getting a massage and it coming up on the TV at the same time he was going through his procedure of getting his back warmed up. So the first play, he posts up, he gets fronted, they swing the pass, he gets the ball, he dunks. And you see when he lands, like his face was like, my back is gone. Like he jarred it. Like coming from a person that has some back issues back in my playing days or early in the days, once you jar your back, it's literally there's nothing you can do to actually warm it up again. Like you have to go to the back and get massage for like an amount of time before it actually warms up and loosens up again. Thoughts, D-Swizzle?
It was pretty courageous. Him going out there still played a pivotal role. Even he said it himself, he was a decoy the whole game. He's still a threat. Still has a nice jump hook. He still landed that jump hook in the middle of the lane. Look, I think the importance was it concentrated some of the attention away from Jordan, but for just a little of that attention, and that sometimes goes, a very long way. But Jordan himself said it. Pip was hurt. I had to take all the shots and bring all the energy because of how limited after that, after their second best player is, how limited the team was going to score on the offensive end and their capability to do so, because who's their third best player? Rodman? Rodman's not much of a offensive weapon. Probably their third best scorer would have been Kukoc, really, in my view. So Pippen being out there, I think, played a key role, if not psychological role, for Jordan, knowing that he had a superstar still on the court with him.
Man down. Utah should have took advantage of the whole situation. I think I don't think they sort of looked at it that way. I think they sort of just played it as, well, we still have to sort of play Jordan, but we sort of play everyone as normal. But I don't think Utah utilized that situation to their advantage. If they took advantage of that, I reckon the results would have been different. He had a lot of grit, definitely. The guy played with the ailing back, with the strategic of playing 5, warming up 5, then coming back for 5. So, you can tell it was really strategic, and he got shots done too. So they did the best they can, and again, Jordan willed them to win. And that, again, part of the GOAT argument, you can't argue. Seriously. Unbelievable.
Missed opportunities, though. I mean, I just watching that Utah, both final series, and I was just, part of me was just cringing knowing that they had their chances.
Yeah, yeah.
To win. And it wasn't, but just using that last example, Scotty being hurt, Game 6, they would have taken full advantage of that if they were killers. They still had home court advantage for Game 7. And, Game 7, Pippen might not have been well enough also for a Game 7. History could have been written totally differently if Utah were more killers than what they eventually ended up to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Let's take it back one game to Game 7. So the Bulls are playing the Pacers.
Yep.
I remember this game. I want to bring up Steve Kerr's heart, right? So the games back and forth. There's literally nothing in it. The Bulls are down by, I think they're down by 4-3. There's a jump ball. So Jordan, it was Jordan versus Rick Smith, 7-4 versus 6-6. Rick Smith wins the jump ball, but the ball gets straight to Pippen. Pippen kicks it out to Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr takes a 3 and he buries it. That to me, that's all heart. What are your thoughts on that, RJ?
I would have to say that since that incident with Jordan, Steve Kerr sort of took a different mind state, and it sort of played an important part with that particular game. and everyone knew that the gravity of the shots that are coming from there. And you know what? That actually started the momentum from them. Starting with that shot, then I think it was shot after that of the Scotties 2, and that's what sort of led them to the victory. So he was really pivotal in that series, especially, and with that shot. That it started the juggernaut for them to win Game 7, and he really, really, you know, stepped up with his role with the team.
Yeah, because with because when Reggie Miller was being interviewed, like he pretty much narrated that was the start of the downfall of the Pacers. The Pacers are I think 4 points at that time, and if they won that jump ball and got possession and actually scored, they would have been up by 6 with a couple of minutes left. So massive play. Your D-Swizzle, your thoughts on that?
The game's about momentum, because part of it's psychological. You know, when things aren't going right, the shots aren't falling. It's protecting a lead. When you get into the this is from my playing days. When you get into the mind frame of trying to protect the lead, you become conservative and you don't become aggressive when you're on the court, and that's when things sort of start to unravel for you. And you know, at that point when momentum's not going your way, and the swing of the momentum was going through, in this point, Chicago's way, it's hard to stop that. It's hard to stop that momentum, and that's why timeouts are there for a reason. Yeah, timeouts are there to stop momentum being built by one team. I mean, what could have been, right? What could have been if the Pacers made the final against the Jazz? What could have been if, you know, that Game 7 would have been the only, you know, the way that Jordan would have gone out in their last dance year. What if, really? What if?
He touched on it, but when he said that, Reggie said that when that shot went in, I think they lost it from there, because I think he got disheartened. So that's where the mental part of it plays in, because the shot goes in, but you shouldn't be disheartened. I think when he said that, I think it set the tone for the rest of the team, and pretty much it was being. Huh?
There's still 5 minutes left in the game.
Exactly. But what's when he's exactly? That's why he hit a shot. You go, okay, that's fine. Next possession. But he goes, oh, when Steve hit that shot, I think that's where it started. I'm like, mentally, you're gone. Like, you started to deteriorate. You should have just kept on going, because. And plus, I don't blame him. You're in Chicago, you know, and one of the best shooters hit it. So I can understand.
Yeah, because you have your Hall of Famer. So the Pacers had Reggie Miller. That's their Hall of Fame. That's their leader. And if you have that mentality that that the game is over, then you can see it. Like, you know, when you play with a great player on your team, if the best player gives up and there's 5 minutes left, then there's a cascade effect. Everyone starts feeling it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I totally believe in that.
That's where we see, I guess, the greatness of Jordan too. Like Mike, like he had the ability to stay in the moment. Like, doesn't matter what the situation was. Like, you know, it doesn't matter what situation. He just stayed in the moment. Like in Game 7, the Bulls started really bad, like during that game, and they struggled. I think 17-8 to come out to the first quarter. But Jordan, when I see highlights of him playing, I don't see him berating his teammates during the game. Like, he does talk to them, but in his head, it's happened. And he's moving on to the next play. He's moving on to the next play.
Doesn't get shaken.
Like I think it goes back to where Jordan always says he makes training harder. So when it comes to the games are easy, right?
Absolutely.
So you go back to the footage of like the first 4 episodes, and Jordan in training, he's like playing like he's more intensity than the finals. Like, and then when he's during the finals, he's like chilling. Like before the game, he's just relaxed, and you know, he's just taking it easy with all his teammates, joking around, and just being that fun guy, right? But training, he's so serious. Let's segue into the next topic. So I wanted to add this other one where let's talk about the 2 big shots and if there were fouls, right? So the first one I want to talk about, we're talking about Reggie Miller, right? Reggie Miller coming off the pick.
Oh,
yeah, he comes off the pick. He full shoves Jordan, and then he tests a shot and he hits it. That's the first one. And the second one is Michael Jordan's shot for the game 6 winning in Salt Lake City,
No,
6 championship.
no,
All
no.
right. So, okay, RJ, so you're being vocal here, so I'll start with you.
Okay, so with Reggie's one, skinny guy would have had to use half of his energy to push Jordan off. Without a doubt, it's a shove. It's a shove. He had admitted he goes he shoved him. Okay, he shoved him. He said the refs weren't going to determine the game from a push. He's going to let the refs play it out. So that's fine. With Jordan's thing, you can tell. I've watched this last play from 5 different angles. Okay, look, I understand that I'm currently biased, but it's not because of that. I'll tell you how it is. So, because of the momentum, and like Jordan said, Byron Russell plays on his toes. And because he knew that he looked like he beat him already, and that's why he was trying to run him over, like trying to sort of stop him and slow him down. And then when he crossed him, that's when he sort of tripped because he lost his momentum. He was on the balls of his feet. So the left hand didn't have nothing to do with it. That was just part of movement. But you cannot move someone from, he's a strong man. I understand. But it was not a shove, and that did not cause for him to slip. That was Byron Russell's shoes or his momentum. And he got free, and he nailed it. Held the gooseneck. Won. W. Good night. D-Swizzle, tell me about it, man.
I know in the last podcast I was screaming foul, foul, but that was more for theatrics. For both plays, no foul for both plays for me. Clean as both of them. Ref didn't call it. I'm with the refs on this one.
No foul.
Separation. They didn't call it. I'm happy with Reggie's. I'm happy with Reggie's separation. They could have called it. They didn't. It was right there in front of them.
But let me tell you something. If you were Jordan,
yep,
and that shot went, what would you say?
I would say, nice shot, Reggie.
No, come on, man. Come on. You sure about that?
No, I'm happy with making the decision that it was no foul for both. I think they were very good shots for both of them. Separation. Look, in my view, I mean, Jordan could have been called for the foul. He was in the way too. They were both running into each other. All right, so it could have gone either way.
Well, what's your thing, man?
Okay, being the registered referee on this panel, and hearing both your sides. So from the referee's point of view, I think it's you can call a foul on both of them. But the issue with the Brian Russell one was there was no weight on his push. He was touching him already. Jordan was already touching him when he was dribbling. So and the defense did nothing wrong. So it's not an offensive foul or it's not a defensive foul. There was no one placed at a disadvantage. All right. So and that's my ruling too. If I was to referee that game, with the Reggie Miller one, it's I think it's a 50-50 call because Jordan didn't fall. If that shove happened and then Jordan actually flopped or he fell, then it would have been put more pressure on the referees to actually make that call. Or so because he didn't fall and being it was Jordan and sometimes the NBA I think looks to extend series to make more money. And Reggie Miller hitting that game. Remember the NBA is about entertainment, and there was no storybook ending like Reggie Miller hitting a shot over Jordan after all those years of torture. Right, the Pacers had the hands of at the greatest MJ, and he basically made the storyline of going into Game 7. So I'm pretty sure the referees had a chat about it before. They don't want to officially say it on paper, but they're saying let the game decide itself. We've seen in the last couple of years where the games have been decided by a late call, and
free throws.
And free throws, right?
Yeah.
And
luckily, Tim Donaghy is not there then.
That's another story. So with that, right? I think in the 80s or in the 90s at the time, they don't want the players to basically decide the game, and I'll live with both calls they made. So it actually made history, I guess, more juicy. Game 7 was something that I watched as a teenager, and I was at the edge of my seat. I'm like, damn, like Jordan's gonna lose. Like, there's a possibility they can lose. So Did you guys watch the game live when you guys were young? That game?
No, not the Pacers game.
Not the Pacers game, nah.
Okay. Cool. I think I
Going to a
watched the
party or
replay.
something.
Okay. All right, let's move on to the next topic. So I wanted to talk about the shot of 7. So the Bulls have won 6 titles. Jordan had the gooseneck, pushed by Russell off, no foul, and they win their 6th title. So they celebrate, everyone's happy, and then the next day, the owner Jerry calls Phil and says, "Look, if you want to come back, come back." But this is when they had the statement at the beginning of the season: if you get 82-0, you're gone. So I'll get to you guys. Did management take the chance of 7 titles away? I'll start with you, RJ.
I have to rewind this part 3 times. I'm in this belief when said there was no dialogue about this. I just don't understand. It just tells you management, players, coaches weren't on the same page. I mean, I think they were right. I think Phil already called it as his last year, not really the team's. I think he already made up his mind. But in terms of the whole scenario with Jerry Krause, Reinsdorf, Jordan Jackson, there's a lot of grey, which really doesn't piece together. For the star player to say there was no dialogue about it, even though the tone has been set by the general manager, I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, they should have at least sat and talked about it, and it kind of took me. It sort of, when they said they all sat together and that fire, and they write something really important to say about the team or the players, and Jordan even wrote a poem about it. I thought, okay, that's great, but what about next year? What about looking ahead? Like, I just didn't understand why they didn't sort of get together and just talk about it for one last time. I mean, organizations right now in the NBA don't like when players make their own decisions, because now the players have the power, but then, like, if you have Jordan on your team, he would have the power. I mean, he can say it, he can determine it. But I just don't understand, like, why Jackson and Reinsdorf and Jordan had like a complete sit down. I mean, not just Jackson and Reinsdorf. Jordan should be in that conversation, so that at least we can, because they even said that in that they were going to rebuild. And you saw Jordan's face when they said rebuild. He was like, I don't have a couple of years. I want it now. The next 3 years is it now. Not a couple of years, but in a couple of years, they're not going to have that team, and they're going to have other players, and that's towards the end. So I want your feedback, and we're going to go back and forth with this, because I really didn't. I don't know. It was so great for me. D-Swizzle.
I think you're right in the sense that Phil made the call early, and when you're setting your plan to have an end point and achieving the ultimate goal, which is the NBA championship at the end of it, I think that was for Phil the relief that it justified, the trials and tribulations of the season, the pre-season, drama that it would be his final year, him making a call that it would be the last dance. I think in part, I think you are right that Phil had it in his mind that this was it. I mean, when they interviewed him, he even candidly said, "Look, we had a good run. It was good while it was there, and it was time to move on." And I think they were all rigid in their ways. Phil was rigid that that was it. Even though maybe they had the discussion with Reinsdorf, maybe he did have that discussion afterwards, the next day, to go one more season. But in his mind, that is Phil's mind, that was done. He was rigid that was going to be the end. Jordan was rigid for stating he would only play with Phil Jackson. That was what made him immovable, because he could have played another year. If Jordan would have said, I'm at my peak. I can still hit jumpers. And he was still the best player at that point in the league. If he would have said, "I'll go around again," I'm sure Scotty would have stuck around. I'm sure that Jordan would have done everything to keep Steve Kerr from moving on to the Spurs, who happened to have won that championship that year.
For Pete, Steve Kerr.
Yeah, and the role players in the team that had moved on. Maybe Rodman could have stayed, maybe not. Oh, he's probably more of the loose cannon that would have left. But if Jordan would have wanted to play for a different coach, I think that the door would have still been open.
Yeah, I think they actually hired, I think, Tim Floyd or something. So
Yeah, college coach.
yeah, college coach, and then he was really a close friend of what's called the GM Jerry, and so I think Jordan wanted to play for one of his boys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that was a big factor as well, because
Yeah, and then
it's the separation of powers here, right? Like this is where I've got issues with general managers also being the coach of a team, like the Doc Rivers role. I find it's too conflicting when you're holding that much power for a team, and all this power invested in one person. I've got issues with that when they hand off those dual hat roles. And similarly to this situation with Krause, when you're having a coach there who'll be his puppet to dictate what Krause wants, I think there's issues with that too. I mean, a coach is there to independently provide a service.
There was two statements that threw me off when last night was played out. The first statement was when Reinsdorf said their values have gone up. I don't think we can pay them. He's just a tight ass. He doesn't want to pay them. You're the owner of the team. All right, you can pay them. They've won a championship. I'm sure you would have got all your money back. And second of all, when Jackson said, I think it's best for me to leave, it wouldn't be fair to Jerry Krause. Dude, like, it's the owner that you have to really, you have to bypass the manager and go straight to the owner. It wouldn't be fair, dude. You've won. So for me, I think that's an excuse. I think he already decided the fate as well.
It's on Krause. The most pivotal or most awestruck statement in the whole episode for me was when Scotty called Krause the greatest GM. Did you guys pick up on that? I thought that was like, what?
Yeah, what? I was just like, what?
What?
Yeah.
Did I hear that right? Is Scotty taking the piss? What's going on here? Is that reflection? Is that just like old age, just like beaming down at him, thinking about what the role was? Because, they had a lot of beef.
Oh, I think I know why.
He was the one with the beef.
He wanted a pay rise the following year.
Yeah. I just found that interesting. Anyway, that was my one most interesting point in the whole.
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, now that you recall of it, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think my views on the whole thing was the Bulls sold out for 3 years after they won the last championship. So the owner had a choice to, share the profits, pay Pippen what he's worth, and start playing all these players, I guess, 1 year contracts, whatever it is. But he didn't try that hard. He's just like, Phil, do you want to come back? Phil's like, yeah, it's not fair to the GM, and he left. And then Reinsdorf said, okay, cool, we rebuild. Like I felt that he had a really casual view on it. Like he wasn't desperate. Like if he was desperate, he would open a blank check and get all those players in, right? You think about every team that's won the championship. You look at the Celtics, you look at the Lakers, you look at all the teams. Especially there's one team that I want to talk about was the Heat, right? When the Heat won it with old Shaq and young Dwayne Wade, that team was not a championship team. Like they got lucky because of Dwayne Wade in Dallas. He carried them on. He was just on a streak, and the referees were on his side. And when they brought back that team, I think Riley knew that they weren't going to win. But his comments were, because they won, I have to bring this team back again. And he brought back a majority of those players, 90% of those players, right? So in that instance, that team won a championship and they brought him back. But even if he didn't believe in them, well, you have a team that was a dynasty. Like you won 6 championships in 8 years. You have the best player in the world, and you didn't do everything you want, everything in your power to bring back the team. Like it's just, to me, it's astonishing. Like today, you think that, let's just look at the Warriors. If you because what's it? Curry is 31. Imagine him and Steve Kerr goes, okay, cool, I don't want to play anymore because they'll just walk away. Like Bob Myers would do everything, and the ownership would do everything to make him stay, right?
That's right.
They've done that already. In my view, they've overpaid Draymond Green. He is not worth the contract extension.
100 million.
Given his injury history, and they paid him because your point exactly, they've won. They deserve the right to play on for the team, which. I'm a little dumbstruck about that, to be honest. But
he's been doing well with his triple singles. That's why.
Show that to Buckley.
But I suppose with Draymond, his analytics are the intent. He's the glue guy. He's doing all the dirty crap on the court, all the things that can't be measured on a statistical point of view. So, look. If you've got that window, I'm with you here, T. If you've got that window, just, even if it's a 1-year deal, and Jordan was signed, like he said himself, he was signing 1-year deals.
He was already used to it. He was already signing 1-year deals before that anyway.
I'm sure everyone would have come back on a 1-year deal. Scotty, who knows?
Scotty would have been talked to if he got paid. If he got paid like at least 20 mil. For that 1 year, I'm pretty sure
he would have
come back.
I reckon it would have only taken Jordan a conversation with Jordan. That's all I reckon it would have taken for Scotty. 1 year, give me 1 year, and then look after yourself. Don't get hurt, obviously, because that'll really mess up your value. Sign a big deal. But, I'm with you there, T. Team.
And then if Jordan really want to bring the team back, then he's on 32 mil a year, right? And then Jordan be like, okay, cool, I'll take 25. So then they divvy up the money. Like you're seeing superstars in this day and age take less money to get their
I don't think he's like that, dude. I don't think he's like that, dude. That guy will take the highest value.
But Jordan was underpaid too. So those final years where he got paid that much, it was like a makeup. Even the owner said it. The owner said, I'm going to pay him because that's how much he's worth, right?
That's right.
The owner's so contradictory. So he signs all these players to like small deals, and he's like, sure, I'll pay him when he plays baseball. I'll pay him more in these final years. All right, let's move on to the next topic. I wanted to talk about, we see entourages, right? We see LeBron James hang around with young players, like the guys that he grew up with. And you see like Kobe or you see Dwayne Wade, they all have the entourage, which is usually their own guys they party with, they drink with. I found that it was quite interesting that Jordan's entourage was actually older, like the guys that could have been his dad and his security guards, the guys that took care of him. Like from the beginning, his best friend came to the airport to pick up someone else, and then Jordan's driver didn't come. So then once he entered Jordan's orbit, he just stayed with him. He kept him his best friend. And then we talk about his security guards, the guys that were from the Chicago Center. And then he liked them so much that they become his entourage. Like he hired all these guys to become his bodyguards. And the way he talked about it was he wanted guys with wisdom. So then it would help him in his path. Like he didn't need people that will hang on to him. He needed people that will help him on his journey. So Jordan had this mindset that he was on this journey to be the best player, and he surrounded himself with knowledge. Your thoughts on that, D-Swizzle?
I think that was a good move. He's done all right with himself. He ain't broke. I think you watch some shows. I sometimes I watch these shows about millionaire superstar players who are dirt poor now because they had too many of their entourage hanging on to them. I mean, I think even our boy AI had issues with this. people were mooching off
Hey
him.
man, that's a whole different entourage altogether, bro.
Yeah. And it's just the character of Allen Iverson to still be of relevance to modern day basketball. He is such an icon that he can still pull off endorsements. I think it was a very good move for Jordan to keep it close, and and it's reciprocal, right? There were stories that were told that Jordan was there in times of need for these people as well, and I thought that was really something. Just because you're a superstar, he was still human. He's still compassionate. He was there when Gus Lett had his issues with cancer, and he was there to be supportive for Gus and his wife. And I thought that showed real character, and it's reflective of his upbringing, isn't it? Family, close ties, discipline. Yeah. Jake?
I think with that, he said it himself. He surrounded those guys pretty much. I think is a closest thing I could say is probably a fill-in for his father. So he lost his father, and he thought as Gus as like a sort of like a backup to his father, and he saw him like as a father, and that's where the wisdom comes from. I'm sure he wouldn't want people to like his age where, played ball as well. I mean, Oakley was close to him, but he wasn't as like like his tail. So that would be conflict of interest for me, the way I see it. But yeah, he got the old guys to get wisdom and to sort of get the maturity that he needed and the guidance that he needed. I'm sure those guys didn't really have anything, weren't really yes men to Jordan. They were like, we'll tell you what we need to tell you because, that's our job. I mean, initially you hired us to protect you, but we can also guide you. And I think that's why he hired those guys, because of their age and their experience in life. So he hired well. He got those guys and helped him. And there you go. The maturity came through.
He needs more help now, though, because Charlotte Hornets, man, they're struggling. He needs better people to mentor him in being a GM.
Yeah, man. I know. Look, he'll get there. He will get there, but it's just going to take a bit of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charlotte isn't really an attractive place to be, I think, especially North Carolina. North Carolina is a bit, it's a bit not an attractive site. It's not like LA. It's like New York. I mean, not Brooklyn Nets.
The right people who like, the woods and countryside, mate.
True. Carmelo won't take that job though. So yeah. So he did a good job.
See?
Yeah. So my thoughts on that was he on the outset, right? So on the outset, he wanted to be the best player, and he knew he couldn't go out with his teammates. His popularity was so big that he spent most of the time in his room. Like just spending time with older guys and myself, like they have a lot of stories, and there's a lot of time to be. I guess there's time in between games where he can't go out. He's literally stuck in his room, and I guess like getting wisdom from older guys is definitely something that is valued for him anyway. Like he needed all these I guess stories to get him by, and also he used the relevance on the court. Like when you're stuck in a situation, what do? You lead by example. Like all these slogans, all these all these slogans and all these mottos and stuff. Like it comes from somewhere, right? It comes from wisdom. And I think that his entourage made him feel protected because there was bodyguards, and they're passing a lot of knowledge of all these years. Not just basketball, just in life in general. So yeah, so let's just move on to I guess the last topic, right? The last question I have for both of you was, so Jordan's game grew, right? So we all know how successful he was on and off the court, but what did it mean to both of you? So I'll start first. What it meant to me was Jordan bought the bald headedness. He bought the baggy shorts. He bought swag. He bought he made hip hop 90s and 80s cool. He's still listening to it. He had the behind the hat Kanga beret. Like he basically made the game. I think before he started, the NBA was in like maybe 77 countries, and by the time he ended, it was in 254. Like he changed the game. For me, I didn't know about the NBA. I knew about Jordan, and then I knew about the NBA. And it reached us all the way from a Vietnamese kid that was an immigrant in Australia. Like this is how I know of the NBA through Jordan. I did, and then from Jordan, then I knew about all the other superstars, and I knew about the New York Knicks, and they still suck from so all these things came from Jordan, like and he such it's his game, I guess it touched me in a way where I wanted to be like him, and I wanted to start watching more NBA, and understand what the NBA was, and just wearing baggy shorts, and wearing the Jordans on the playground. Like you felt that you were like him for that session of basketball. Like you felt that, okay, cool, I got Jordan baggy shorts on. I've shaved my head. I've got Jordan shoes on. Shit, let's go. Your thoughts, D-Swizzle?
Just going to use the words of Barack Obama when he talked about how Jordan changed the basketball culture. We all talk about, when we were in teams and playing ball, it was always made known to us that no one player was the team. He would be pretty much the closest thing to the exception to the rule, wouldn't he? I mean, he was basketball. It wasn't just he was Chicago Bulls. He wasn't just, the NBA. He was basketball. When you affiliate one basketball with something, for most people, I would presume it's Michael Jordan. It's just that status that he has. I suppose what's interesting for me is we recently compiled our top 10 favorites list. And when I went through mine, I was surprised that I left him off my top 10. Do you believe?
Oh, blasphemy.
Yeah, well, I mean, subjectively, favorites. It was, my favorite players. It's just interesting. Now I'm reflecting on it. I'm not going to change my list.
Oh,
Um,
got worse.
but in terms of naming who the best player was, for me, that's a no-brainer. It's Michael Jordan. But Jordan is more than a player. He's a brand. He's a corporation. He's a culture in himself. When you think about who he is today, hasn't played for nearly 2 decades, but still people know him. Millennials know who he is, not just by the shoes that they're wearing on their feet, but also the highlights that are still being shown of the greatest player that's ever played. So for me, Jordan is basketball. Jay?
Want to be like Mike.
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh, this guy, man, it was everything. This guy was pop culture. This guy was global icon. This guy made me want to stick my tongue out and shoot the same form of jump shot back in high school. Couldn't afford the shoes when I was smaller. That's why I buy a lot now. But man, this guy was everything. I mean, baggy shorts looked cooler back then. If you had short shorts, I put them all the way down. Yeah, some things are showing, but you know what? They were baggy when it was lower. But man, he was it. He was the one. He was the example to be. So my mentality was like, when we played for school decks, it was like, man, be like Jordan. So, shoot like Jordan, defend like Jordan. It's like Jordan was it. He was it. And I still buy Jordan Brand now because I've never forgotten his highlights and what he's done to the game. He's promoted it globally, and when the NBA needed it, man, he gave it. And the NBA should really pay Jordan, to be honest, because he made them what they are today. I mean, I wanted to drink Gatorade too. I bought Gatorade, so I can't say enough about Jordan. He was it. My look at my room. This is my old room. I still got my Jordan jerseys up.
Can't let go.
And I just shrugged. So
Definitely an icon. Definitely an icon. So last any more comments, guys, on the whole documentary as a whole, or anything you guys want to talk about?
Well, I just it came at its release on Netflix here in Australia has come out at, I suppose, an opportune time, with more people being at home, and it's gone beyond in terms of its talk. It's the generating the the talk about basketball and the talk about the Bulls. It's just been interesting that people who never followed NBA, never followed the Chicago Bulls of the 90s, never followed Michael Jordan, have gotten great glimpses, and a number of glimpses now for 5 weeks about the player he was and the person he was, first and foremost, you know. And it, this documentary coming out now, I think it's been needed for some people, just to take their mind off the serious things that are going around in the world. And I thought, you know, it's been a really good product to take your mind off things and to make you feel more relaxed and get you excited about the game that's been suspended, the real game that's been suspended, and knowing that there is something to. It was, for me, it was something to look forward to next week. What's coming up? You know, what's coming
yeah,
up? It's rare now in the age of Netflix and having the whole series released at the same time, where here they release 2 episodes a week. And you had to wait, like back in the day, back in the 90s, where you'd watch commercial television and you'd have to wait the following week for the next episode. You know, you had to wait a whole week. And I thought that feeling, it's so retro.
it
that,
is.
you know, having to wait another week about what the next installment was. And I thought that was really enjoyable, to be honest, instead of binging it for 10 hours. Just,
It's a great move, actually.
yeah. Great series all up. If any of our listeners and viewers haven't seen it yet, highly recommend it. I think we all do. So go check it out if you haven't done it yet.
Ajay?
It was just great. It's a disappointment that's come to an end. I mean, the producer, the director, sorry, he even said that there's even enough footage for even another 1 or 2 episodes. I'm just ashamed that he can't do another one. Yeah, it's just a sad ending because there was so much anticipation with each episode that comes, and there was so much stories to be said. I'm sure there should be another one because that what we saw is probably not even half. I'm sure there was a lot more footage and a lot more stories that can come out, not just with the Bulls, but with Jordan in general. And they should actually do where are they now with those players? We all know where Jordan is. We don't need to know. There's no mystery there. We know what he's doing, but it should be like where are they now with the Bulls players? To be honest, T.
Yeah, if they go back into the archives, because they have so much video. They have so much video, and that they're pretty much useless now. Like unless they use it again for something that, like you said, where are they now? But yeah, I guess it had to come to an end. Hopefully, Netflix, ESPN, and Jordan will say we got good results. Let's see what else we can do with this footage. And it will be awesome if they can release this, you know, in the coming weeks or months, whatever it is, just to keep us going until the NBA season. Hopefully.
Yeah, it would be great.
Yeah. Or else it would just be wasted, right? So, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's up to the great one. It's up to MJ to what he wants.
True. Seal of approval required.
Yeah. All right, guys, we'll wrap up then. Hey guys, so I'd like to thank the panel for being committed for the last 5 weeks, just being available and doing this podcast. It takes a lot of time, our personal time, and yeah. So if you can hit on subscribe or to follow us. Give us some feedback. What topics you'd like us to cover? Old games, old incidents, whatever it is. Just hit us up in the comments in below YouTube or our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So till next time, we got a couple of videos coming up. We're thinking about doing some things with shoes, reviews of shoes, and also reviewing other documentaries out there. So click on a like, share, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Later,
See you
guys.
guys. Thanks, T. This is
Peace.